Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Seven Figure Dentist Playbook. I'm Dr. Tony Feck, and the topic of this episode is dental practice expansion. When and how to grow. Let's start with when. When should you be growing? Well, in a word, always. I'm of the belief from a lot of years of working with dentists and owning my own dental practice that you're either growing or you're not. In other words, you're either growing or you're declining. This idea that you might be kind of neutral, you're just kind of, treading water. I don't believe that's ever the case. You're either going up or you're going down. Because if you think that you are keeping pace or, not declining or growing, the fact is you're probably declining relative to where you could be and certainly relative to your competition. Also, once you stop growing, you lose that momentum that accompanies growth. And that momentum can take a while and a lot of effort to regain. I seldom hear that dentists don't want to grow, but what I do hear are reasons or excuses for not growing. So here's a few. The first thing I'll hear from a dentist is say, you know what, I have enough. I'm good. And my response is, so you have this crystal ball, you can read the future, you know what's going to happen tomorrow, next year, 5, 10 years from now, and obviously you don't. So think of growing as security. Okay? I don't know anyone who doesn't want to be a little bit more secure about their future. Growing allows you to allow for anything that the future may hold for you that's unforeseen. Things like the economy, which is totally out of your control. Things like your health, which can be under your control, but not always. So all of these things that may happen in your future, growth allows you to address. The second thing I'll hear is, growth requires risk. Okay, it may not be successful. Well, you're a practice owner. When has your life not held a certain amount of risk in it? And now that you are at whatever stage of your practice you're in, the risk isn't greater. Your tolerance for that risk has become less. Your entrepreneurial flame is fading, and with it, your future potential. You've entered the dreaded comfort zone where dreams go to die. It's best to be uncomfortable. It's best to think about the risk as something that's positive. Because if you don't take risk, you can't get reward. And the greater the risk, the greater the reward. People who won't take risk are never going to grow. They're never going to realize their potential. So using our example of growth as expanding your facility, you may ask, well, when do I know it's time to grow my facility? Well, here's what a lot of people do. They will say, you know what, the demand is great enough. We're scheduled this far in advance, so now's the time to grow. I don't take that approach. I start with the vision, okay? I would rather you create the demand. If your vision calls for you to grow your practice to do more, then that would be the time to plan for the expansion. You say, well, we don't have the patientship. We don't have the team. Well, yeah, you'll need all of that in place. But, there was a very popular movie many years ago. It was called Field of Dreams. And the mantra of the movie was, if you build it, they'll come. And I've seen that happen so many times. Okay? If you wait until the demand is in place, you've waited too long. Doesn't mean you can't still do it. And if you need that for security, I get that. But the greatest entrepreneurs, the people who dominate their space, are people that move forward and create the capacity to do more while they are creating the demand, or sometimes even before they create the demand. How big should you grow? Well, how big should you dream? Okay? Small dreams result in small outcomes. Big dreams, you get the opposite. You get big outcomes. And I've made this same mistake multiple times in my own career. Every time I built a new space, a new larger office, I haven't built big enough. Okay? I thought adding 4 or 6 or even 8 operatories more would be enough for the rest of my career. And then here I am 6 to 12 months later thinking I should have built bigger. Now, is bigger always better? Not necessarily. But the challenge that I have as a coach in working with dentists is having them to be a little more ambitious. Okay? Again, if you think that bigger is more work, if you think that bigger is more stress, then you're not doing it right. Bigger is almost always better if you do it right. If you don't do it right, then it isn't. But that's the reason Sunrise Dental Solutions exists, to help their dental practice owners do it the right way. We know how to do it. We've done it countless times. So if you're afraid, let me reassure you, we know the answers. But at least dream big enough so that this tremendous potential that you are blessed with, that you only have so much time to make use of, gets used. The next excuse I hear is, it just costs too much. Okay? Among the laws of the universe, as you pay the price, you get the reward. The higher the price, the greater the reward. Okay? When do you get the reward before you pay the price? So just accept the fact that you're going to have to pay some price. Just decide how much reward you want. Ambitious people don't fear the cost. Ambitious people see the cost as, this is just what I signed up for. I'm too close to retirement. I hear that all the time. No, if you're selling a business, why would you want to sell it when it's declining? Another law of the universe. Buy low, sell high. One of the biggest financial mistakes that a dentist makes is to focus solely on cash flow and not as much on equity. As long as you plan correctly, you will get back the investment in growing in terms of both additional cash flow and additional equity. I know that from my own personal experience, I knew that I was 3 years from selling the remaining part of my dental practice. But our practice needed to grow its physical space. We needed to update technology. I had a choice. I could say, you know what? You guys deal with that in 3 years after I'm gone, because it makes no sense for me to spend my money when I'm only 3 months out from retiring. I'll never get my money back. But that's not what my mindset was. My mindset was that I want to sell my remaining portion when the practice is going upwards. It's just worth more. Yeah, there's the additional liability of buying the equipment. And sure, I won't get to use the equipment as long as the people I'm selling it to, but I built that additional value into the sell price. So the numbers just made total sense, but not a lot of people see it that way. The next thing I hear is, well, it's just not the right time. My response is, so when is the right time to start making more money? It'll never be the right time. As far as waiting till you're absolutely certain, the moment of absolute certainty never arrives. The next thing I hear is, it'll make my life harder. Yep. Since when has increasing your income, increasing your capacity to make more revenue been easy? Okay? I mean, if you're looking for low-hanging fruit, then you might as well just go work for someone else, because that's just not the way life works. You just have to decide how bad you want something and then commit yourself to getting it. The next thing I hear is, I don't have the right, fill in the blank in place. No one ever has the right pieces in place when they make a change. After all, you will be doing something you aren't currently doing. That's not a reason not to change. That's just an excuse for not changing. At the risk of being politically incorrect, you need to grow a pair and make a plan. You can only fail if you don't try. If you try and you don't succeed, you haven't failed. You've just discovered what doesn't work, and now your chances of succeeding the next time are increased. So in summary, the best time to grow is always. You should always be looking for, how can I do more without working more, without more stress? And once you figure that out, then not only will you have more as a result of doing more, you will actually help a lot more people. So how should you grow? Well, like anything else, you need a plan. You don't put one foot in front of the other until you know where you're going. Every good plan begins with the end in mind. Thank you, Stephen Covey. And then you work backwards. The plan needs to be complete with goals, which are stepping stones along the way, with timelines, financial projections, including a budget, any needed resources, and support from mentors, coaches, and trainers. So once you have your plan in place, the next thing you need is you need the right mindset. As with anything else, it comes down to you having the right thoughts. And the good news about that is you have complete control over your thoughts. You need to be committed to the end result. You need to go into this with the expectation that you're going to run into bumps in the road. There will be unforeseen challenges. They may even seem daunting at the time. You may be tempted to give up, but you can't do that. And you've got to move forward. Doesn't mean that you don't make adjustments. Doesn't mean that you don't respond to whatever the challenges are, but the end result doesn't change. The way you get there is what is changing. So you're going to need some other things. Okay? After the right mindset, you're going to need the right people. And nothing ever great was accomplished by yourself. Okay? Surround yourself with the best people you can. Make sure that they get the vision as well. In order for them to get the vision, you have to be passionate about it. They have to have a certain degree of respect for you if they're going to work to accomplish your vision. But they also have to have something in your vision for them. What's in it for them? Okay? If this is a dental practice that you're wanting to grow well beyond your current walls, you're going to be adding more operatories. You're going to be adding more people. You're going to be marketing for more patients. You're going to be changing your systems. It's not going to be easy. Let people know that nothing ever great was easy, but you've got the right people around you. You're looking at the people in this room right now, and you're excited to go forward with them. What's going to happen as a result of doing this? We're going to be better. We're going to be better as a group. We're going to be better as individuals. We're going to provide better care to our patients. We're going to be more excited each day about coming to work because we're doing the latest, greatest stuff. And we're being recognized for it. We're being recognized by our patients, being recognized by our community. We're being recognized by our peers. And guess what? As a result of being able to be more, then we can get more. And then every one of us gets to share in the more. We're going to need the right systems. If you're going to go from this smaller operatory or smaller number of operatories per practice business to this much larger number of operatories per business, then you're going to have to adapt new systems. Okay? If you hold on to the old systems in a larger practice, it's just going to be a lot more stressful. So you've got to be willing to accept the fact that we're not only going to do what we do in more space, we're going to do it differently. So you're going to have to build leadership within your practice. You're going to have to support people in becoming leaders. Leaders aren't born, leaders are made. Most leaders start out with being clueless about what it means, but they can learn that. And it's your job as their leader to build their leadership abilities. You're going to need the right resources. You're going to need the financing. You're going to need the staffing. You're going to need the physical space. You're going to need the equipment and the technology. And you're going to need the patience. And if you're not willing to invest in acquiring all of these things, then your change isn't going to work. And then finally, if you're going to change, you need the right support. Find someone who's done what you want to do. Okay? Let them mentor you. Let them coach you. If they've achieved success at this, why reinvent the wheel? Use their blueprint. Are you going to modify it some? Of course, but it's your path. But at the same time, shorten your learning curve. Reduce the likelihood that you're going to fail by using already proven paths to success. Don't embark on any change without first having the right support, as well as the organization behind that support that can provide you, your team, with coaching, with training, with systems in order to support this change. You're not growing to make your life harder. Okay? Remind yourself of that. You're growing to make your life better. And if your life is, as a result of this change, has not become better, or it's become harder, or both, then revisit the change. You can always modify it. It's never too late. But every day you go by and you're not doing something that causes some type of positive growth, personally and professionally, is a wasted day. And life's too short to waste.